What's cracking, everybody? This is LouieListens, and I'm Louie, and we have made it to the end of Stromae week. This is the first week of many themed weeks for LouieListens Season 1, and by the end of this, I'm going to be taking audience suggestions. So if you'd like me to listen to one of your, or react to one of your videos, doesn't even have to be music, it could be comedy, it could be any language, it doesn't matter. If you think that it's something I should see, pop it down in the comments, like, comment, subscribe, and all that stuff. We've been on a very big journey this week. We've listened to Stromae being a party animal, and we've listened to him being bittersweet in remembrance of someone who influenced him, and we're just vibing, man. So at the end of this week, we've got Fils de Joie. I don't know this word, this phrase, so I'm going in pretty completely blind to this. But yeah, thank you guys for sticking me out through this week. There's plenty of other videos. It is in a playlist. I've got tons of Stromae content on my channel. So yeah, check it out. Anyway, let's get into it. In a fictional country, the state holds a funeral for a missing sex worker. Okay. Spotify and Mozart. Choir, the piano, the harpsichord. A harpsichord.
Être seul c'est difficile, et là ça fait des années. Et de juger c'est facile, surtout quand on n'y a pas goûté.
Yeah.
Le plus dur, bah c'était la première fois. Puis le plus dur, c'est de savoir quand sera la dernière fois. C'est vrai, je suis pas contre un peu de tendresse de temps en temps. Et puis cette fois-ci, ben, je pourrais le faire en l'insultant. Oui, tout est négociable dans la vie moyenne en paiement. En plus, je suis sûrement son meilleur client. Mais oh, laissez donc ma maman, oui je sais. C'est vrai qu'elle n'est pas parfaite, c'est un héros. Et ce sera toujours fièrement que j'en parlerai. Je suis un fils de pute, comme ils disent. Après tout ce qu'elle a fait pour eux, pardonne leurs bêtises. Oh chère mère, ils te déshumanisent. C'est plus facile, les mêmes te courtisent. Et tout le monde ferme les yeux.
Huh. Yeah. We'll start at the beginning. This little walk away when we come back. So this is pretty straightforward, right? His mother was a sex worker, and he's giving the eulogy at her funeral, and there's all these people, and he's talking as how judgmental they are to her, and how they don't treat her well. They dehumanize her, and they say that what she does is bad, and yet they're consuming the content, essentially. You can't, and I'm just going to use the terminology he uses here, you can't really blame the whore and then buy it. She's making a living, and she was alone, and she's raising her son, and so he's saying, hey, stop villainizing this one occupation, because I'm going to go out and I'm going to say she did everything she could for me. That could be quite a, that's quite a counter societal opinion sometimes. But in recent years, we have seen a little bit more of a normalization of this type of occupation, because it's always going to exist, because people will always pay for it. And it's like alcohol. We tried to get rid of it in the United States. That didn't work out well, because people are still going to drink. These vices, these things that people have, they're the reason they exist. Nobody would be out there selling golf balls if people didn't play golf and want golf balls. Nobody would be out there selling their body if people didn't have the money and wanted to pay for that body. And so he's just saying, stop dehumanizing. Stop dehumanizing her.
Et tout le monde ferme les yeux.
And they court you, and then look the other way.
Pourquoi tout le monde me déteste? alors que c'est moi qui les nourris. Leur vie serait bien plus modeste, sans moi elle serait pourrie. Le lit et la sécurité ont un prix, madame. Ben oui, dans la vie tout se paye, on ne te l'avait donc jamais appris. On m'accuse de faire de la traite d'êtres humains. Mais 50, 40, 30 ou 20% c'est déjà bien. Faudrait pas qu'elles se prennent un peu trop pour des mannequins. Mesdames, ou devrais-je dire putain. Mais oh, laissez donc ma maman, oui je sais. C'est vrai qu'elle n'est pas parfaite, c'est un héros. Et ce sera toujours fièrement que j'en parlerai, que j'en parlerai. Je suis un fils de pute, comme ils disent. Après tout ce qu'elle a fait pour eux, pardonne leurs bêtises. Oh chère mère, ils te déshumanisent. C'est plus facile, les mêmes te courtisent. Et tout le monde ferme les yeux.
That like, they.
Je sais que c'est ton.
It's you can hear the violin. What you hear coming out now when it plays normally. What you hear right before it, I think, is it just being rewound, and then it'll start at the top, so like it'll go up and down. So I think it's just a reversed. There's a lot of musicality to this, man, because there's a harpsichord at the beginning playing this Mozart. I don't know if it's actually Mozart, it's just a Mozart style song. But you also incorporate so many other instruments, and what is up with his hair? Stromae is amazing. This is another banger, certified banger, 10 on 10.
Je sais que c'est ton boulot, mais faut bien que je fasse le mien, non? Entre le tien et le mien, la différence c'est que moi je paye des impôts. Allez circuler madame, reprends tes papiers, ce qui te reste de dignité. Pauvre femme, trouve-toi un vrai métier. Mais oh, laissez donc ma maman, oui je sais. C'est vrai qu'elle n'est pas parfaite, c'est un héros. Et ce sera toujours fièrement que j'en parlerai, que j'en parlerai. Je suis un fils de pute, comme ils disent. Après tout ce qu'elle a fait pour eux, pardonne leurs bêtises. Oh chère mère, ils te déshumanisent. C'est plus facile, les mêmes te courtisent. Et tout le monde ferme les yeux.
You know, he's so like pure at the end where he's just like, please leave my mom alone. Um, he's almost like begging humanity to just stop. He plays the duality of Stromae, right? He plays both sides here too, because he'll play the people that are condemning her and saying, the difference between you and me is I pay taxes. Get your ID out of here. Get your dignity, because you're below me. And then he goes and tries and courts her. It's just so much irony, and Stromae's. I think the biggest thing that Stromae points out that it's just his trademark is irony. There's two sides to every coin, and almost nothing is just there. There is no black and white. There is no such thing as black and white. And in Stromae's videos, there's so much like there's always just two sides that are just treating each other terribly. And I just feel like Stromae looks at everybody and he's like, kind of like that Chris Tucker or whoever. Can't we all just get along? Chris Rock. um, I think he's just tired of it, man. Treat people better. Um, the musicality is great. The video is it's a movie. This is coming off of the Multitude album. I know that. So this is new. This is we're pretty much getting caught up on Stromae now. Um, and what a journey this whole thing has been, man. Again, the dancing is crazy good. The choreography, the military like walk up and down, the way that the different groups will intermingle and walk away like this, the women coming up and stepping up. Um and there wasn't just like there was the women soldiers, but there was also like the women dancers who were maybe just a little bit less professional, um, or less militaristic, I'd say. And there's just different groups of factions of men, and there's just a lot of different opinions on this. And he's just like, just giving his heartfelt goodbye to his mom. And so these are the other uh, sex workers, or they're implied to be anyway. These are like the other sex workers carrying off one of them, and they're doing it alone. They're the only ones who carry the casket. Um, is Joie? Is that Joy? Joie? Um, Fils de Joie, of joy, something of joy. Um, his mom was maybe a joy. It's just so sad that they're carrying her by herself while everybody basically watches and dehumanizes them. It's really powerful imagery. It's really powerful imagery. Dancing again is just really powerful. This display of power of the planes going overhead, and them standing stoic and stone faced and having nothing really good to say, just staring, almost like they are also. It's almost like they are also feeling guilty of something. That's it. That's the end of Stromae week. It's been a long week. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you, especially if you watched the end of this video, because you probably watched the end of the other videos. If at any point, if you like the vibes, please subscribe. As always, you have been awesome, and I have been Louie. I'll see you next week.